Hello viewers. Tonight I would like to continue a series that I had basically stopped at chapter 11 of Claymore. Now I do have some new subscribers, some new viewers who may not understand these videos, but basically what these videos are about is me reading Claymore, the manga. This is my own personal, part of my own personal research of particular types of media. I have sort of been researching violence in media as well as a few different other things. So a while ago I had decided I might as well just read it out, narrate it, so to speak. Basically, if some of you do not know, my plan behind this is to sort of read Claymore on this channel, and eventually I would like to start reading Berserk, because basically Berserk sort of influenced Claymore, and Berserk has a good deal of narrative implications that I am interested in, but I have never really had the opportunity to sort of read the Berserk manga. I have read the Claymore manga as well as watched some of the anime, but basically, I am more familiar with Claymore, so I decided I will just start at Claymore. And another reason I did this was because I had noticed, well, there are a lot of people talking about manga, but not too many people really doing narration and commentary sort of in the way that I do it, which I will say that there have been some viewers on my channel who appreciate it, and I would do it more often. However, I have had some particular events in my family that really needed my full attention, and so I really have not had as much time to do videos as often as I perhaps would like. Not to mention that during the time I was not particularly in the mood to do certain things, and I sort of lacked some confidence, which, truth be told, I have built up some as I have been doing more videos, but it is hard sometimes. So these videos, if you're not familiar with them, I do narrate and I give commentary. In other words, this is not just a straight reading. Basically, I will share my thoughts as I do the video. So I do not often see many videos like this, so it sort of is a sort of interesting format. So this is chapter 12, Teresa of the Faint Smile. So for those of you who are new, you may want to, either read the manga or watch my earlier videos of earlier chapters. Okay, we have basically, the arm cutting sounds, let me see, do I remember how to, yes, it has been a while since I've read manga, so I have to sort of keep in mind that it's going from right to left. Yes, right to left, okay. Because this is how the Japanese is written. It has been that long since I've read any manga that I sort of have forgotten that was right to left. Okay. God. No, it can't be. How? What is she? Okay, this is the entrance of a new character, so to speak, in this particular manga. Teresa of the Faint Smile. I mean, okay, slamming sounds. The sound of someone literally falling down upon the ground face first. Grr, what? Gah, okay. Stomping sounds. Impaling sounds. I mean, people, I used to do sound effects. I used to try to make the sound effects with my voice, but I no longer do that. Okay. Because it got kind of ridiculous. Okay. I mean, they certainly did. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty brutal. I just say that. Cracking sounds, probably of a skull sort of being cut in with the sword. Alright. Everybody's looking at this. They're really surprised. They're like, wow. Oh my! She crushed the Yoma! Is she a Claymore? Ah. Hey. Okay. Everybody's still surprised, still looking. We have some splashing sounds. Because apparently, she took up her sword and literally splashed blood on them. Ah! Splat, splat. Okay. I mean, to me, another reason why I happen to do these videos is because the aesthetics are somewhat, I mean, they are somewhat significant, especially in our culture. I mean, you basically have pretty women with swords. It is a very popular thing in media, you know, especially Japanese media. Before this, especially in Japan, I think Berserk was the big popular manga with basically the big swords thing. But what was interesting about Claymore was, as far as manga went, this was sort of a spin on the big sword formula. I mean, we've all seen Guts with a big sword. We've all seen Cloud Strife with a big sword. But Claymore was, well, it was a manga about girls with claymores who went around killing monster people. You know, I mean, and it had probably the skimpiest aesthetic out of, you know, any of these manga I know, you know, thus far, you know, as far as I know, with big swords in them. I mean, that is sort of a genre. Peradventure, some of you do not know about the whole sort of Japanese obsession with big swords that you could not possibly carry and really utilize very effectively, frankly. But, you know, there is something somewhat, I don't know, alluring, strange. You could even say, how would it be said? You know, titillating, so to speak, about, you know, women, pretty girls with swords. They're getting dirty and bloody. I mean, it's still somewhat, I would say, you know, there's something very, very interesting about it. And so, even if I'm just recording this for my purposes, just for me to sort of have a nostalgic reminiscence of what I have read and saw, maybe this will be useful to someone. But very, very fascinating to me. It always has been. Ever since I started reading the manga. I mean, it's just, for those of you who do not know and really have not read deeply into this manga or read it before, this manga gets progressively more bloody and weird, but I think this kind of is a perfect expression of what this manga sort of expresses. I mean, basically, you have pretty women with swords splashing with blood after they kill this Yoma, okay, basically this half monster, half demon type of person, okay. The whole thing about Teresa is that she goes around killing the Yoma, and she has a faint smile, and it's just like, oh, she's so graceful and dignified and elegant, but it sort of mixes that aesthetic. And I think this is sort of done in a lot of Japanese manga and anime, where they mix the aesthetic of sort of elegance with utter brutality. Now, narratively, the Japanese people and Japanese artists and manga writers are not the only ones who've made such narratives. They are very popular here in the West, in the United States, and, especially in the West. And probably all cultures to an extent, but it is somewhat surreal, to an extent, because the common people, the commoners that you see, the townspeople, they are always somewhat taken aback, stunned. Wow, this person's really tough. They're so amazing. Look at them with their big swords. So they're scared and sort of terrified of these people, but they need them to kill these Yoma, to kill these monsters. But at the same time, these people are quite disturbing. Even in real, like our day-to-day life. Yes, you can find people who can, kill and get blood on themselves and still basically be entirely fine with it and really feel normal about it. But, those people are very few. Most of them are serial killers and psychopaths, but, I mean, let's be honest, and, some soldiers, many of whom develop all manner of mental disorders, like post-traumatic stress disorder, what have you, but, there's this mixture of feminine beauty and just utter brutality of where, as well as there's this sort of hierarchy where, the people are just, they can't fight against the monsters. They're dependent on the claymores, but the claymores are just very cold and disturbing. And so, there's that aesthetic, and there are a few different aesthetics that we have described in this series. But let us continue. Or this video will be like maybe 2 hours long, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it perhaps would be preferable if it was not 2 hours long. Okay. We have basically clinking noises of her putting her sword back. What are you doing? Hey, easy now. Okay, she's looking back. Huh? I guess these people took issue with the fact that this woman decided to literally take her sword up and spill blood on them. But these claymores, if you do not know, and I do have one, who knows if the people who, watched the earlier videos are gonna watch this one. I have no idea. There are at least a few of my viewers who are familiar with the series. There are some who are not. But basically, for those of you who maybe this is the first video of the Claymore series that you're watching, of me narrating it, maybe you've never read the manga before, but these claymores, basically they're women with claymores, all pretty women with claymores. That's sort of the thing about Claymore. But they're really callous. The townspeople are really disturbed by these people. These people are they sort of disregard, let me put it this way, the claymores do not necessarily have good manners, and they're very antisocial, and so people really fear them. For good reason, because these people are basically Yoma themselves, except they're a mixture of Yoma and human. And Yoma is the type of monster in the series. Okay? Basically, that is a rough explanation of it for some of you. Okay, let's see what's happening now. One moment, please, people. Excuse me. Hey. Thank you for helping us. This is your payment. Don't need it. Huh? Okay. And this is the sort of thing, you read it over and over again in the manga. I got sick of reading the same exchange because it was so boring. I'm thinking, alright, writing should be fresh, writing should be original, in my opinion. In other words, when I read the same type of exchange, the same type of, dialogue for characters, okay, I've read about this. I already know that you people, you have someone else come and take the money. Okay, this point has been expressed. I do not really think that I really need to read this dialogue over and over and over and over again. Okay, I've read Claire, it does not matter. It's just very, personally, the repetitiveness of this type of dialogue about, oh, strange man dressed in black will come for it later. Give it to him then. But if that's all we know, what if we make a mistake and give it to the wrong man? In other words, they do not directly take the money. Someone else will come and take the money, but for those of you who've not read the earlier chapters, you do not realize that I have read the same dialogue about 2 or 3 different times. And to me, just based on a sort of level of palatability, in other words, okay, I've already absorbed the point. For me to read this like about 4 or 5 different times about, oh, a man in black will come and he will take the money. Do not give it to me. And I'm thinking, okay, that is somewhat boring. I suppose in an anime it's supposed to have dramatic appeal because they're going to say it cool. Like, oh, I don't even take the money. You give it to someone else or something. I have no idea if this was supposed to just sound better because it does not read well. You see, in an anime where they have real voice actors and things are sort of dramatic, there's sort of a more dramatic appeal to a person saying it rather than you reading it. When you read this for about the 4th or 5th time, you start to think, okay, I've read these Claymore women basically say this for about 4 or 5 times. It is somewhat repetitive, and I will be honest, as I read Claymore, I had to push myself through reading it because a lot of the writing was very repetitive. To be honest, it was very repetitive writing, and that was it was sort of a stumbling block that I had to get around in order to finish basically the Claymore chapters. And to me, the art is really good. The art is, usually in a lot of these manga, the art is really good. However, I just have to state this opinion. Comic book and manga writing, in my opinion, has never been good. And this is an example of that, because this dialogue, sure, it has a purpose. Yes, we know these claymores have someone else get the money, but why is this so important to be something that I have to see about? Do I really have to see these claymore women basically say the same thing at least 4 times in a row? I mean, I'm up to chapter 12 now. I've seen the same exchange happen, and I'm thinking, okay, can the manga sort of progress in a more fluid way where, my reading experience is fresher, so to speak? I mean, I think I understand the point. Can we skip this part of the exchange or something, because it feels so clumsy in terms of writing and just expressing something to the reader. I mean, this has been expressed. If we see it happen and we see the same dialogue, the same boring dialogue, because what it does is this. And I suppose, I have to become a writing critic for this manga as well, which I basically have been throughout my entire series. If you have not watched the earlier episodes, but basically, it's just something that, we understand. As readers, we understand whatever point is being made, but not only that, what these exchanges do, every one of them, they just make the townspeople and the common people seem so unoriginal. The common people say the same thing. They're always surprised. Oh, who are we supposed to pay? Who are we supposed to pay? Who are we supposed to pay? And I'm thinking, personally and logically, this does not make sense, because all of the towns have generations of people who have been dealing with claymores. So this is an idea that is presented in the manga. Obviously, these men in black take the payments, and since these people in towns all have to deal with Yoma, obviously they are used to giving the money to men in black. Okay, it's obvious. So it is almost as though this whole exchange is to basically make the townspeople seem extremely dumb and helpless. And I do not really appreciate that all that much, to be honest. One moment, please. Okay. But no, I simply do not understand it. I do not think it was a very good choice to really emphasize that as much as people did, because it makes the townspeople seem as though they do not know at all what they're doing. Okay. I don't care. In that case, it will be the same as if the village never paid. Next time, however, many Yoma appear. However many Yoma appear in your town, we won't come to help. What? Huh? I mean, let me just be honest. The way the whole series goes, and this is another thing that's been on my mind, it really does not make me feel as though any of this is sort of in a medieval setting. I know it seems and looks like it is in a medieval setting. However, there are certain things that make me feel as though, okay, the way business is done, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, it is as though, okay, everyone has been dealing with these claymores. Everyone should know, I mean, especially if they're older men like this man. Okay, obviously you had fathers and grandfathers and other people in your village who have given the same payment to these men in black and know exactly how the system works. There's an established system in this community, in these societies. Okay, why do they not know that they're supposed to give? This exchange does not need to happen, but I know why they put it in the manga. They put it in the manga basically to express that this is basically in the manga to express, oh, the townspeople are so helpless, they're so stupid, and the claymores get to sort of behave in a cold manner, and this is emphasizing just how cold, cool, and very, very brutal, and just absolutely aloof the claymores are. They walk in, these townspeople are stupid, we don't care about them. We just do our job, and we're better than they are. And so that is the idea. The townspeople are stupid. The townspeople are incapable. And so this is an expression of that, but this does not make any sense. Obviously, you've had claymores doing work for you before. You know who to pay. You know there are these men in black who are their handlers. You know there's handlers, and you know that the men in black are in charge because you've had generations of people deal with these claymores before. Apparently they do not age, and so it is quite obvious. You know who to pay because the other people in your village have paid before, so you know exactly what to do. There is no sense to be expressing the same point. Oh, the villagers don't know who to pay. Well, I will tell you who to pay. Pay the man in black. Oh, we don't know who that is. Oh, if you don't pay, we're not coming. You're just going to die. I mean, come on. These people have been dealing with claymores for so long. So this is an exaggerated this is an exaggeration. This is real hyperbole. This is, let's make the townspeople so stupid. They don't know anything. The townspeople are presented as complete idiots, imbeciles. And, personally, let me just say, I think that's bad writing because it is artificial. It is artificial because, obviously, if these townspeople have been making payments, and they know who to go to, they obviously have done business with claymores before. If they have done business with claymores before, they know that they're supposed to pay a man in black. They know. They already know what to do. So why make it seem like the townspeople are so stupid they don't know how to do business with claymores? They know how to do business with claymores because when they have Yoma problems, and every single one of these settlements has Yoma problems, that's sort of a big thing in this whole sort of manga series, is that every village has to deal with Yoma. And who do you call when you have the ghosts? You call the Ghostbusters. Who do you call, proverbially, when you have Yoma? You get the claymores. And the claymores always tell you, pay a man in black. And so I do not think that this is realistic, or it makes no sense. I think this is purely bad writing. It's done to make the claymores seem, oh, look at the claymores. They're so cold, they're so cruel, they're so scary, they're a beautiful, sexy, and very lethal woman. So it's basically, these people are just, they're just so, they're just, look at how they deal with these stupid townspeople. So this is basically a way to degrade our view and understanding of the townspeople even more. Okay. And make the claymores seem cool. But the truth is, the townspeople have been dealing with the claymores. They know how to deal with the claymores. Because the claymores always tell you the same thing. So obviously, if the claymores tell you to pay a man in black, obviously you pay a man in black every time a claymore comes along. It is, and let me just say, that's why this whole plot point, this whole idea, we have to really get it into the minds of our readers, that the claymore has to explain to them in depth something that they have done before. they've dealt with claymores before. We do not need to see the scene because they know what to do. This is kind of, I really do not like that, and I know why they do it. And this is how I can tell. That's a sign of bad writing to not consider that these townspeople have the logic and common sense to pay this man in black. They obviously do because they continue to deal with these people. They know who to go to when they have Yoma problems. They always tell them to pay a man in black. But anyhow, I had better continue. We'll pay. We'll pay without fail. Glad to hear it. That's the wise choice. Okay. And she's walking off into the wilderness. Up here in the cliffs. Somewhere. Okay. And here's the man in black or whoever that's waiting. You scared another village. Yeah. Didn't you, Teresa? I told the truth, Ursay. We never again lend our hand to a village that doesn't pay, no matter what happens afterwards. Okay. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know. I mean, maybe if we had that scene one time, I could understand. I could understand. But I mean, to me, this plot point was stupid because they make the townspeople seem so ridiculous. And I will tell you this, and you will read it when you read the later chapters. You're going to see that they're literally going to portray actual monsters that eat men, women, and children as literally basically more moralistic and more virtuous than the townspeople. I mean, who they portray as useless, stupid, they can't do anything, they have no common sense whatsoever, they can't fight the Yoma. Okay, I mean, and you would wonder, okay, why is there just such a sort of drive in the author to literally depict these townspeople as being completely incapable? It does not make for good reading. It does not make for good reading at all because you would say, wait, these townspeople would have some common sense. Are they all mentally retarded? I'm serious. But hey, you people will have to decide for yourselves. Okay, that's true, but the way you say it, you make it sound like we send the Yoma after them ourselves. Oh, you mean we don't? Okay, this is foreshadowing. This is foreshadowing. This is foreshadowing. Basically, this shows that there is an intimation of a type of knowledge that is going to be extremely relevant in the future chapters. But it is interesting that when you read the later parts of the manga and come back to the beginning, you start to realize different things. Okay. Careful what you say. Our job is to slaughter Yoma. We would never do such a thing. Now about your next job. A 2-day walk west of here. Is Teoville Village? Okay. Teo Village, okay. That's what it is. Any other details? You need more? One moment. Excuse me. Okay. Not really. The number of Yoma, what they're like, it's all the same. Find them and kill them. That's all. Aye, aye, boss. Okay, I mean, the whole thing about Teresa was that Teresa was supposed to be this type of cheerful, oh, she smiles. She's not like other Claymores. She smiles and does her job with a smile on her face. She's like that Walmart employee. Or, those, I mean, of course, that's what they show you in the training videos for anyone who's worked there. Oh, you should always smile, and so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's like the Walmart employee that always smiles, which, you know, is pretty great if you're working in a store, or, you know, you're working at Walmart or McDonald's, and, I mean, you're always smiling. That's great. In warfare, where you're killing people, and you're literally cutting people up, I mean, I'm sure there are some particularly psychopathic individuals who would, you know, have a pretty good habit of killing and smiling, but, you know, for a soldier, that, you know, I mean, but I know why they do it. It's edgy, and it's, oh, she's happy while she kills. She's so dangerous, and she's elegant. She's just this feminine elegance in her. I mean, that's the whole theme, right? I mean, that's the whole theme. It's, oh, look, she's this beautiful blonde-haired woman, you know, she's, and all of them. Another thing, you can't see the color to the manga. Watch the anime, you will see that they all have blonde hair. Basically, all the Claymores get blonde hair. I'm not spoiling anything for you by saying that. All the Claymores basically have blonde hair. Except maybe one. Maybe one does not have blonde hair, but basically all of the Claymores have blonde hair. Okay? That's sort of the thing in this. Just like the thing in Dragon Ball Z is for basically black-haired people like Goku and Vegeta to somehow get, you know, blonde hair and green eyes. You know, that's sort of the thing. Okay? In Dragon Ball Z. So, as to why this is such a theme of literally black-haired, you know, people getting blonde hair, personally, I think that there is some degree of projection in it. That is just my opinion. Personally. Okay. But I mean, personally, I think, that there are some driving fetishes involved with this, but that is just my opinion. Which, you know, is not necessarily a bad thing, you know, but, I mean, I just think that the author likes pretty blonde-haired women who carry big swords. I mean, am I saying it's a bad thing? No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, he likes a pretty blonde-haired woman with a big sword that can kill with a smile on her face. I mean, if I'm being somewhat more talkative in this particular episode of, you know, the series, that is because I have recognized that in order for me to do this effectively, I'm going to have to give more commentary, and this is going to have to be more casual. Okay? To be honest. So let me continue. Teresa, a half-breed created by the organization. A 77th generation Claymore. Warrior number 182. So if there's 77, if you have even 77 generations, are you kidding me? You mean to tell me that the villagers do not know how the business is done? You mean to tell me there's been 77 generations of these people, and the villagers know? That is purely done just to make, that does not make any sense. Obviously, that writing is terrible. Let me just say this, that writing is terrible. The people should know exactly how the business is done if there's been at least 77 generations of these people. There's been 77 generations of these women with big swords going around killing Yoma. The villagers all deal with them. They all know how the business works, obviously. No one can tell me that this makes any sense. Maybe some of you in the comment section, in the comment forum, I have to stop calling it a section because basically it's a forum. My comment forum is very open, but if any of you want to explain how these people do not know how to do business with these Claymore girls, hey, please explain to me how that makes sense. I think that that is bad writing. That's my personal opinion. I think that is terrible writing. I really do. I think that in the writer's effort to really make these Claymores seem really cold and really sort of vicious towards the townspeople, he sort of went and he did something that wasn't necessarily logical or sensible, which is he made the townspeople too stupid. In other words, the townspeople should have a certain level of competence. In other words, these people have done business. They have done business transactions. With these Claymore girls, they should know who to pay. They should know there's these men in black. I mean, it's like common sense. It's just observation skills. Obviously, people would be able to put two and two together and say, these men in black are the handlers of these Claymore girls. We have these young girls with big swords who basically go around killing Yoma. They always tell us to pay these men. Obviously, these people would be able to put two and two together and realize, wait, these men are in charge. How does no townsperson, no person in the population know that these people are not in charge of this whole operation of Claymore girls with the big swords killing Yoma? The people should have been able to figure this out. But, you know, the writing, I'm just going to be entirely honest. I think the writing for Claymore has serious flaws, serious problems. Oh my goodness. Okay. No matter what Yoma she faces, she slays them without exhausting her own Yoma power. For that reason, her face never grows ugly or contorted, and when she slays the creatures, she seems to have the faintest of smiles. I mean, this was the big thing about Teresa. Teresa, she gives service with a smile. Teresa gives service with a smile. She's our happy Walmart employee. She's our happy Claymore girl with a smile on her face. She does the business. Aye, boss. And, you know, to me, what does this seem like it sort of harkens back to, and what do I think influenced it? Classical Japanese workplace culture. Everyone dresses in the uniform. Everyone does their job. Everyone has to be excited about their work. And you may not recognize that some of this type of aesthetic has been used in some Japanese anime and media. For example, a whole different subject is the Abyss Watchers in Dark Souls 3. Another group of people with big swords, with matching uniforms, basically doing a job. They have big swords, they're the best in the business. Nobody kills the Abyss like the Abyss Watchers. Of course, then they lose to it, but that is besides the point. The point is that, and I mean, that makes me think, are the Kartha swordsmen better than the Abyss Watchers? Anyhow, completely unrelated point. Basically, you know, Teresa gives service with a smile. She was the best in the business. There was no Claymore like her. She was such an angelic figure. And when you think about her, she is basically your sort of, how should I say it, your sort of model Japanese worker. I'm not even joking when I make a connection between Teresa as a character, her function and role as the sort of most skilled Claymore girl of them all. You know, she's so good at her job. But let me just say this. Teresa sort of makes me think about the sort of, you know, the sort of, how should I say, star Japanese employee. Hard-working Japanese employee that loves their work. They just love doing it. Teresa loves doing her work. She does it with a smile. She likes to fight so much that she doesn't even really get stressed out about it. She's not even using her Yoma powers. She gives service with a smile. She just likes her job. She really likes her job. And so this is why I say that sort of medieval aesthetic cannot really even be applied effectively here. Because it is almost as though, you know, that is not something particularly serious or, you know, I mean, this seems like, I mean, basically your model employee type of culture. So it is very hard for me to sort of, I don't know, to sort of believe this is some type of influenced by some type of older culture. No, if you know about Japan and you know about Japanese workplace culture, a lot of people want to be ichi or number one. There's a big thing about that. I don't know if number one is pronounced ishi in Japanese, but there's a whole big thing about being the number one in anything. Everyone wants to be number one. Everyone, I mean, there's a big thing, there's a big cultural thing about being number one. So basically, you know, Teresa is number one in her duties as Claymore, you know. She's number one at doing it. She does it with a smile. She loves doing it. I mean that's what it's about. Okay, to me. Okay. So she's known as Teresa of the Faint Smile, the strongest woman among those called Claymores. Okay. But I mean, I would say that they keep saying so-called Claymore. Other people call them Claymore. But I mean, basically they're Claymores. I mean, they keep acting as though the terminology is just something, oh, it's a so-called terminology. And the Claymores themselves, I mean, what are you called if not Claymores? I don't care. But anyhow, that's another issue I have with the whole series, is that, okay, you can't, apparently calling them Claymores is offensive to them. Calling them silver-eyed witches is offensive to them. So what are you supposed to call them? I guess anything you call them will be an offense. But hey, I mean, to me, there are some certain things that I don't know if it is simply due to English translation or what. But even to be honest, I do not even think it is a matter of translation, because I will just simply say this: good writing is able to basically shine through translation problems. You know, the scenarios that I read and the incidents that I read are not good writing, in my opinion. I've said it before. And as a reader of pulp fiction, I mean, which not too many people are interested, unfortunately. You know, I know that this is not good comic writing. I just do. The comic writing is always of an inferior quality. But anyhow, to even short story writing, to be honest, the appeal of comics and manga, I would say, is more artistic in terms of just graphical and visual matters. Okay, we have some type of surprise, exclamation point. Maybe not. The strongest woman. Rather, the strongest creature. Oh, wow. I mean, oh goodness. Okay, she's showing up to her job with a smile. She's happy to do the work, obviously. She's that faint smile. She's ready to kill some Yoma. I mean, it's just like I said. I mean, to me, when I look at this aesthetic, you see it enough, it becomes campy, it becomes corny, it becomes sort of, I don't know. When you look at this, I mean, this image right here, I mean, I don't know. I don't really take it seriously. To be honest. I mean, now if you had someone in imposing armor and a big sword, like the person from Baldur's Gate 1, or was it Baldur's Gate 2? You remember the person, but many of you people are probably not familiar with Baldur's Gate, but basically there was this guy, I mean, I think he was a ball spawn. In other words, that's some type of evil god in Baldur's Gate. He had spiked armor. The man had spiked gauntlets. I think he had a big sword or something like that. Very, very scary, okay? I mean, she has a big sword, but I mean, the clothing, I mean, these might as well be shorts. I mean, that is a skirt, but it's a short skirt. It's a armor skirt. I mean, let me just say this. It is not as though, even in video games, I don't play with skimpy armors and stuff, and I don't, you know, it's not that I do not necessarily read different manga and watch different anime with people who have, you know, some skimpy armor on. But I mean, when I think about the intimidation, she's the strongest creature. This is the strongest creature. This is the strongest creature. This right here is the strongest creature. Just suspend all reality and let us imagine. Let us bask in the glory of the strongest creature. Okay? A woman who basically with no armor on, you know, pretty blonde hair woman with silver eyes. Yeah, she's the strongest. Okay? The strongest. No joke. She's the strongest woman. I mean, the strongest creature, rather. I mean, this doesn't look intimidating at all. I mean, and you know, if you say that and the character looks intimidating, I can take it more seriously. I can take it more seriously when the character who is described, I mean, this is, I don't know. But to be honest, I do not, when I read manga, I do not take it very seriously. Because some of the aesthetic, you see, this not only has literary function, it has aesthetic function, you know, sort of artistically, visually. In other words, when we see the strongest creature, and the strongest creature is this, I mean, we have to really suspend our belief. So I can take this in a humorous way. I can take this claim in a humorous way because I cannot take it seriously. But anyhow, okay. But as I said, the happy worker, the happy employee. She's shown up in her work uniform. She has her tool, which is a big sword, and she is ready to do business. She's ready for business. She's happy about it. I mean, she does her work. She gives service with a smile. Okay. It's a Claymore. Okay, slashing sounds. She cuts this guy up. But he's a Yoma. Oh, what? That's one. Gah! Okay. Gah! What was that? What do you think you're doing? You... Okay. Impaling noises. That's two. Okay. I mean, this is supposed to be cool. This is supposed to be intense. Goodness. I mean, maybe when I was younger I would have taken this a whole lot more seriously, but I mean, artistically, visually, it looks pretty cool. In terms of writing, terrible writing. I mean, you have some one-liners. Okay. You know, but I mean, okay. I mean, I just enjoy it for what it is. Manga is more funny to me than serious nowadays. I do not really look for very serious narratives in manga. I mean, this is basically humorous, bloody stuff at this point. Because I don't know. To me, a narrative where the strongest creature in the world is wearing this, I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. And I would never. I don't know. I mean, it's just. I mean, there's no. I mean, skimpy armor can look intimidating. Let me just say that if you do skimpy armor right, and you want that skimpy armor to look intimidating, you can make a skimpy looking armored girl look intimidating. You have to know how, though, and this is not that. This is not that. I mean, to me, I just think it looked too bright. You know, these little women in the silver armor, blonde hair. To me, I don't know. But I mean, it is what it is, and you have to appreciate Claymore for what it is, basically. Okay. Let me continue. Oh yeah, I read that part. Okay, more slashing sounds. Oh, murderer! Murderer! It's killing people! What? That's 3. Okay, we have wind sounds, because she's going so fast. We have swishing sounds. Now we have more slashing sounds. But obviously the whole point of this is to show that she does her work, she gives service with a smile. So she just nonchalantly cuts these people up with a smile on her face. It's nothing to her, this is to her job, she's so happy to do it. I mean, and you know, as brutal as it seems, it's just like, it brings to mind the happy Japanese employee, I mean. You know, you're supposed to do your work, it's supposed to constitute your life, and you're supposed to smile when you're doing it, and that's a big thing in Japan. Many of us Americans may not recognize it, but, you know, Japanese workplace culture is like that. I mean, some of these people, you know, their workplace culture, some of these people work 6 days a week, and basically work and school constitutes basically nearly all of their lives. So the idea that someone can, you know, do their work and smile about it is a very big thing in Japan. And basically for Claymores, their work is killing. So, I mean, one can imagine some Japanese employees who live in Japan who do nothing but work. You know, art sort of represents life. So basically your life is sort of expressed in the art. It is very interesting, to be honest. Okay. Whoa! She's gone mad! Yeah! Okay. More wind sounds. I guess of her swaying. That's 4. More cutting sounds. Okay. I guess those are vein bulging sounds. Okay, some surprise in the crowd here. Okay, the beaky sound is vein bulging sounds. Basically. Eek! What kept you? You should have summoned your power the moment you saw me. Don't you think? Grow! Okay. So, I mean, the regular Yoma are pretty easy for them. Gah! Okay, more slashing sounds. Cutting sounds. Whatever you do, it's useless. Huh? Let me just say this. Some of you will disagree. But basically this manga, and I do not care what any of you say, I'm going to express my opinion. It's a fetish. I mean, the whole thing about, and of course, many of us have had it, the dangerous, sexy woman who kills you with a smile, the femme fatale, okay? It's a big fetish. I mean, and hey, it's very popular in Japan because a lot of those people like women who are involved in, sadism. And a lot of Japanese men are consider themselves to be masochistic. And so the idea that you have a woman with this much power who can cut you up, who can just slash you in half, and is very brutal and very carnal and is not afraid to get blood on herself, and will smile while doing it. You can say what you want. Viewers, you can say what you want. I mean, you can have whatever opinion you want about it. This is very, very sexual. I mean, I'm just going to tell the truth. Am I saying there's anything wrong with that? No, but I just have to express the point. I mean, it's not an uncommon fetish. Basically, the Claymore girls are sort of dominus. And some of you may think, wait, you're bringing something sexual in the manga. That's how you perceive it, but I mean, I would just put it this way. Based on the clothes that they get the Claymores wearing and the fact that they're not in full suits of armor, they're stupidly overpowered. I mean, Teresa, the whole thing about her is that she's killing with a smile. She's smiling while she's cutting people up. I mean, hey, people, some of you can say what you want. I mean, this is a well-known fetish. I mean, this is the domina. This is the domina. This is the dominant woman. This is sort of our sadist or sadistic woman. And that's what the Claymores are. I mean, and of course things get, in the whole thing, I mean, we get into different fetishes. Later on in the manga. There's different fetishes expressed later on in the manga, but the whole thing with the female, the overpowered female character, heroine, sort of coming and sort of killing you, with killing all of these Yoma like they're nothing, with the sword that, she has all this power, and it's like, it's very seductive. I mean, some of you can say what you want. I know that's, so I have to really reveal some of the underlying narrative elements and sort of the things that I sort of perceive in the story. Okay, in the art. The art is itself very suggestive of a woman who takes pleasure in giving pain. And that is what we call sadistic woman. And that is a very popular fetish in Japan. Okay? I mean, hey, some of you may not like to hear that. You may want to sort of put art on a pedestal and say, we can't really say this is smut art to a degree. It is kind of smutty. Some of you may say, no, it's not like that. Yes, it is. I mean, some of you may not think it is, but I mean, hey. I mean, it is sadistic. Sadism is a sexual thing. Okay? I mean, many people have that fetish. Okay? I just have to really tell the truth and be honest. Okay. What? Eek! Okay. The bodies. They're all Yoma. Your one lucky village. Seems that 7 Yoma were living here. The request for the Yoma hunt came from another town. The creatures did all their feeding in neighboring towns and lived quietly here. Now, I felt the aura of 7 Yoma from outside the village. But how many did I kill? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I would also say that the idea of a type of anti-hero, of a type of sort of heroic sadist, of a type of individual who is portrayed as a good character, as a good protagonist, or, a good character in the plot, who is also sadistic and takes pleasure in dealing pain, that is a very popular thing in modern art, especially. Though, you know, I mean, you can read it in many different types of literature. Very interesting, but it isn't a dynamic that I see in this manga. One moment, viewers. I do hate to have pauses in my video, but I simply do have to come back. In hopefully just a minute or two. So I will be back, viewers. Alright. Unfortunately, because I do these videos in real time, I cannot edit pauses out. So, that is the downside of not editing videos. But I do like doing unedited videos, to be honest, because if I did edit the videos, I would have to spend more time making them, and I would have fewer videos, obviously. Since this is a commentary channel, and it is not really done in a very professional manner, I see no reason to edit the videos. Just simply based on the type of videos I do. Anyhow, let me continue. So I guess, let me see. So it's from right to left, but this is on the upper part of the screen. Okay. I guess I'll just read this part first, to be honest. Sometimes I do get confused. Huh? There's one missing. I wonder. Where? Okay, that townsperson is surprised. Well, well. What if I don't find it? Okay. I guess that's the sound of the people talking. The crowd talking. There. What indeed? Okay. More wind noises. Did you think you could use a child as a shield? Fool. Okay. More visceral slashing, splitting noises, blood splurting. Okay. Noises. Alright. Eek! Wah! Yeah! Okay. Yeah! Ah! Okay. Whatever type of screaming that was, which I'm sure whatever I did, whatever noise I made was pretty stupid. But anyhow, so people, that was the 12th chapter of Claymore. This is basically the part of the manga where we have Teresa, the woman who basically gives service with a smile. Okay, she loves her job. She really loves her work. She's different than the other Claymores. She's the star employee of the organization. Okay, you know, she has the real... I mean, she's probably, you know, I guessed the ideal domina for a lot of masochistic men. I mean, they probably would like to imagine her cutting them up with her big sword. I mean, hey, I mean, I know it's pretty vulgar for me to say, but I mean, this is a manga in which, I mean, the elements of blood and sex are in it. I mean, hey, it is so obvious. But, you know, how often will I be doing these readings, this commentary? I suppose when I'm in the mood and I have the opportunity. For some of you new viewers, new subscribers, who happen to be, you know, maybe you're not familiar with this. Maybe, you know, you're thinking, okay, you do religious content, you do philosophical content, you do content about Elden Ring and Dark Souls and these things. But this is not content you're used to, maybe, and you think, okay, what is this? What is this? Okay, this is just, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I would be surprised if some of the subscribers that sort of watched these videos are still watching or even still subscribe to me, because it has been a long time since I've done it. I mean, I believe some I know by name, what was it, Red Moon, Blood Moon, has been watching for a long time, and some other people have been watching for a long time. I have done a disservice to them because I've not put out these videos, but, you know, I had basically stated in the comment section to some of these people, I'd said, you know, I have seen people do manga narration videos before, but no one really sticks to them. No one really finishes them. And I said, basically, you know, I want to finish, you know, a manga and basically narrate it straight through. And I will tell you this, I will probably be doing different narrations of different manga and giving my different commentary, because I think that is something that you do not often see among the community of manga readers and anime watchers. Is people, basically people who are willing to talk about what they've seen, what they've experienced, and really do commentary videos about it. I think really the manga and anime discussions are really sort of culturally limited in terms of the scope of the discussions. Not many people really talk about, you know, things at length. Okay, you know, but this way I can read it and I can just share my thoughts and opinions about it in a very raw and unedited way. Okay, and when I say raw and unedited content, oh goodness, that's reminding me of DSP, and that's a whole rabbit hole that, oh my goodness, it's better not to think about that. Anyhow, but he is a particular grifter who takes money from his subscribers, which I don't do. But I mean, basically, this is the raw, unedited type of commentary. If you're interested in that sort of thing, well, this whole series might be something you will like. If not, you know, maybe not so much. If you are sort of put off by extremely bloody scenes, I think I may use this as the thumbnail for this video. I mean, this sort of is basically the summation of the whole idea behind this chapter, which is basically portraying, you know, our girl Teresa is the sort of smiling sadist who, you know, I mean, some of you may think I'm being a little harsh when I say that, but I mean, I have to be honest. To me, it's very sexual. It's very sexual. I mean, to me, all of Claymore is sexual. I don't care what anyone says. Violence and sexuality go hand in hand. I think we should be honest about it. Let's not joke. This was someone's fantasy. This is, you know, hey, I just have to I have to express myself in these videos. I really do. But if, you know, for new viewers, maybe you think, okay, I subscribe to your channel, but I'm not really ready for anything this bloody. Well, just stay away from these videos, or you can listen to it if you want, and you just, you know, it's a podcast, so you don't necessarily need to even really, like, watch it, so to speak. For those of you who want to find the manga, it's very easy to find, and the anime, you can find that for free too. Anyhow, viewers, I am quite happy to do this again. I just have to get in the hang of things. Alright, so to all you viewers, may you be blessed and farewell. Okay. Yeah.